one thing that I realized about value is that value is a spectrum, right? You can't really define value, or at least you can't define the value that somebody brings into your life. As time goes on, you have to be able to incorporate what you learned the day before just so you can get through the next day. Because fate comes in so many different ways. You know what I mean? You can't just say somebody's fake because, they don't answer your phone calls or they don't talk to you or they don't invite you out. Depends on the dynamic of the relationship.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So people label too quickly.
Yeah, people label too quickly sometimes.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the No Name Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Luxama, and we got a special guest. This is going to be a super interesting topic because we've been touching about business and finance and all that stuff, but now we're going to touch about something we're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about everything a 20-year-old should know, and I got a special guest. Please introduce yourself, bro.
What's going on, guys? So my name is Michael. Me and Donald are actually blood cousins.
Facts.
First cousins, yeah.
Officially, you feel me?
Officially, yeah.
Facts.
But yeah, my name is Michael, 25. I work as a consultant for a finance firm. So my background is pretty much, I have an extensive background in finance and some good gems, some good life advice.
Facts.
So yeah.
Look, let me ask you this, bro. What's the biggest piece of advice that you learned this week?
The biggest piece of advice that I learned this week?
Yeah, something that you could take away that you could share this week that you learned.
Really, the biggest thing that I learned this week is probably the importance of value and perspective, right?
Explain on that.
So pretty much, one thing that I realized about value is that value is a spectrum, right? You can't really define value, or at least you can't define the value that somebody brings into your life or that you put onto other people's life. Yeah. You can't really describe the value that you place on your life or other people put in your life by one measure. And what that means really is that I could find value in a relationship that I have with somebody based off of the emotional, mental stability and support that they could provide to me. Whereas another relationship that could provide me value could be monetarily, like my relationship with, say your parents or something like that pay for you. Also, they give you that emotional support. But realizing that value is a spectrum.
That's a super interesting thing. Value is a spectrum.
Yeah.
I remember you told me this, and I'm whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. So I want to ask you this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to tap into the relationship side. What's like you said, values a spectrum. What is the biggest problem that you see in today's relationships? That could be boyfriend, girlfriend, friendships. What's the biggest problem that you see that with friendships and relationships today?
So a lot of times the biggest thing that I see that's an issue, and speaking solely from experience, is that we become complacent, right? Relationships, they become complacent. What I realize, and you notice it, and it's just nature in itself, as people, we go through things every day, and we go through different obstacles, different learning measures. We go through different tribulations every day. So that means you cannot remain the same that you were yesterday, given the knowledge that you gained the day before, right? So as time goes on, you have to be able to incorporate what you learned the day before just so you can get through the next day. You feel me? For example, if I touch the stove is hot this day, I know that I'm not going to touch the stove when the fire is on the next day because I learned from it, right? Where complacency comes in is a lot of times in relationships, a lot of times, whatever the relationship it is, whether it's between, coworkers, friends, intimate relationships, we stop evolving, right? You have to understand the same way that individuals evolve each day. We learn new things every day. Relationships also have to move in the same pattern. If you feel complacent and you think that doing the same thing that you were doing yesterday or the day before is going to get you through the next day, it's not going to work in the long end because we stop moving forward and we literally just stay where we're at while the other person on the other end of the relationship is continuing to grow as an individual. It's why you see yourselves, you fall out of certain relationships, certain, work relationships stop working. You stop really working the same way at work because, you know, you stopped growing in a sense.
Okay, and does that go? I guess that plays into a role as like people, because people change every single day. So like,
Absolutely.
the girl that you probably fell in love with yesterday is probably not the same girl, or like the person that you met like.
Exactly. And that's not a bad thing, right? That's not a bad thing at all. I feel like when people, like when you think about it in that context, a lot of people, they sometimes come to the conclusion, oh, you're not the same person I met. You can't be the same person I met. You know what I mean? Because when I met you, you didn't go through half the stuff that you've been through in life that you
Up to that certain point.
up to that certain point. Exactly.
Okay.
So the goal is to continuing to learn the person that you're with, whether it's, you know, they find out they like something new, they find out something new about themselves, they find out a new interest, they find out, you know, they gain new skills. The goal is to try and mimic the same pattern of growth that they're having in their relationship, that they're having in their individual life, in your relationship with them.
Okay.
Right? So that way you can continue, you know, growing at the same rate. Because if not, just the way that we are as people, we're either going to outgrow people, right?
That's what I was gonna ask you. Okay.
Or people we're gonna continue to grow with them, and that's not a problem, right? It's not an issue. It's not a bad thing. That's just the way life works.
Okay, so what advice would you give to someone that is outgrowing their partner, their friends in like a relationship? They're basically outgrowing their habitat. Because there's probably some people that just they want the finer things in life, and they're just grinding harder. They're just doing more. They're just excelling at life, but the people around them are not moving at their same speed. What advice would you give those people?
Well, my advice would be to see the value that you're getting from that relationship, right? See the value that you're inputting into that relationship, and see if, you know, the two work hand in hand with each other. For example, me outgrowing somebody isn't a bad thing, right? But if that person is providing a lot of value into my life, right? Whether it doesn't have to be, you know, again, monetary value, but if that person is providing value into my life, then I have to look at the trade-off and see, is this something that I'm worth losing? Or is it something that I'm willing to, you know, fight for? And the fight in that is really just communicating the fact that, hey, you know, this is where I am, and is this somewhere that you think that you can get to with me, right? Or
okay,
what do you need from me so that we can both feel that we're on the same level? Because a lot of the times we think that we're outgrowing people because of the way that we're moving, but really it's just a lack of communication. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about my passions. I'm not talking about my dreams. I'm not talking about, you know, I don't have the same interests. You might think that it's just a lack of interest on my part, but I just don't know. You know what I mean? And we can't play mind reader a lot either. You know what I mean?
That's a big thing. I feel like a lot of people, like, they expect the other person to be able to read their mind. Like, you have to know everything I'm going through. But I feel like you said, if we don't communicate, then we really can't, like, move on, basically.
Exactly. Because you don't know what's going on through somebody else's mind. Like, you can't just guess it. And granted, that maybe you're somebody that you've been with, a friend that you've known for years. You feel me? Somebody in an intimate relationship that you've known for years. But at the same time, you still have to have healthy communication to understand exactly what's going on.
Okay. So let's pivot a little bit. I want to ask you, what do you think is like the biggest mistake that you made in your 20s? Like, what do you think is like your biggest mistake?
Damn, I made a lot of mistakes in my time, in my early 20s. One of the biggest mistakes that I feel like I made in my early 20s was probably financially, was buying a new car.
Okay.
I think financially, buying a new car really just, it set me up for disaster.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because there was no reason for me to put myself in that type of debt. Feel me?
How much was the car, if you want to talk about it?
It was like $25,000.
And how much were you making around that time?
At the time, I was making like $40,000 a year.
$40,000 a year. Okay. And you were still living at home though.
Yeah, I was still living at home.
Okay. So $25,000, you're in debt with this car. Why do you think? When did it become like overwhelming to you? Like, were you like? Do you feel like you were spending more than you were making at the time, trying to like?
So I don't think that I was spending more than I was making because I was always really good at budgeting. But at the time, what I realized was that I could have been saving a lot more. You know what I mean? I was at home because I wasn't paying for rent. So really, my car note and my insurance was on me. You know what I mean? And paying for a brand new car at the age of 20, they're charging you out. Like they're charging you crazy. Yeah.
Nah, but that's why I tell people, like, I see people buy like 2023 cars and beautiful, nice cars. I'm like, yo, like, you gotta live below your means because it's gonna come to a certain point where you can't pay and you're gonna be like, dang.
Yeah, it's just like,
You feel me? And nobody cares. You feel me? Like the bank that loaned you the money, they don't care what you're going through. They don't care if you lost your job. They don't care if your mother died. They just want their money at the end of the day. You feel me?
exactly.
But I remember you were telling me, but like if you buy like a used car, then you can have a bunch of problems. So it's like
You got to find the trade off because that's exactly what happened to me. I bought a used car, but it was probably, so I bought the car in I want to say in 2018. It was a 2016 Nissan Maxima. Made sure I was like, yo, at that time I'm thinking, I was like, yo, I got the money. Feel me? If I'm gonna get the car I want, I'm gonna make sure I get, like, you know, I got the platinum, the top model. You feel me? The top model of the car.
it was platinum.
Yeah, it was a platinum.
I wasn't
Something
like,
yeah, it was a platinum. Yeah. I was like, damn, you feel me? The car, I should have looked more into it. But after like 2-3 years, I started getting into problems. Like I was paying for transmissions. I was paying for I changed the alternator like 3 times on that car. You know, I changed, like, and again, I was just bullying the car on the road. I didn't really care. I was, you know, in my early 20s, I was like, yeah, I got my own car in my early 20s. I'm paying for the car I want. Like, I'm gonna do what I want.
So you would advise people, like, just don't go over your means if you don't have to.
Yeah, if you don't have to, there's no, like, if you got it, then go ahead, you feel me? But if you don't have to, there's really no reason to, because, you feel me? It's the same car. I could have bought the same Honda that would have got me the same places that I was getting into with.
Question: were you trying to impress people? Do you feel like you were trying to impress people, girls? Like, was it like dang? Cause I know the feeling. Like, yo, I got a nice car.
Yeah, it was like, I got a nice car. You feel me? I was like, yo, I got a nice car. You know, I got a decent. And at that time, I thought I was making money. That time, 40,000. Because you got to think about it, like, yo, $40,000 a year. You feel me? To a 20-year-old coming from where I came from, I was like, yo, like, I'm making money.
Okay.
So, yo, I'm making money. You feel me? I was like, yo, I'm touching money, like, and I'm going to school on top of that. I'm touching money. And then that's when I was like, damn, Loki, this is nothing.
Nothing?
I got to.
Did you ever get to a point where you was just like, because I've been overwhelmed with debt before, you feel me? Have you ever got to a point where you was just like, dang, bro, bro. So, like, crying at night, you gonna be like, yo, I can't pay this car. Have you ever got to that certain point with the car?
Yo, the day that I took the car home, right? So I was mad hyped to get the car, right? Literally the first day I took the car home, I'm driving back and I'm thinking to myself, I was like, yo, I had a brand new car, right? Because you remember the car that I had first. That before I got the Maxima, I had a 2009 Toyota Camry that my parents bought brand new.
Oh, the red one.
The red one.
Okay.
Right? They bought it brand new in 2009. The car only had 50,000 miles on it by the time they gave it to me, right? They gave it to me free of charge. I didn't pay a cent for it, right? They gave it to me. So I was like, all right, cool. I was driving it. I was like, yo, this is a brand new car, right? And then I gave it to my brother. And I was like, you know what? My brother just turned 18. I want to do something nice for him. Let me give him a car, right? So I gave him the car that I had. I was like, I got the bread. Let me go finance this car. So I get the car. I'm driving back home, and I'm thinking about all the money I could have saved had I just kept the Toyota Camry. I literally, no music, no nothing. I bought the car in New York, drove the car from New York back home in silence, right? Didn't say a word. Got home, opened the door, right? My sister, she looked outside. She's like, yo, you just got a car. I didn't say a word to nobody in the house, right? Mm-hmm. Just went in my room, closed the door, and I literally cried myself to sleep. Because I was thinking about, I was like, damn, like, it didn't hit me till, because there's something called buyer's remorse, right?
After you make buy
yeah, exactly. So after I made that purchase, I was just sitting in my room. I was like, damn, I low-key regret it. And then over time, you feel me? It didn't become overwhelming. But as I started having to take more responsibility and started having to pay for more stuff, and started to have, like, you know, my expenses started getting getting higher, I started realizing, like, yo, one, I'm not making a lot of money. And two, this car is killing me. Like, this is the last thing I should be paying for right now.
Facts.
Like, on top of all these expenses, paying for this car is the last thing I should be paying for. So,
okay, so let me ask you this: like, so your early 20s, is there things now that you did in your early 20s that people like hype up that aren't as big as they seem to be? Like, for example, like people at like my age, like I'm 22, a bunch of people, like, they hype up parties, right? Oh, I gotta go to parties, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. You feel me? And then they get older and they'll realize, like, yo, like, I shouldn't have gone to those parties. I should have probably studied more. I should have probably worked on my relationships more. Is there anything that that was big to you back then that's not really as big to you now? That you prioritize higher in a sense?
Yeah, so like when I was in my early 20s, I used to party a lot. And I'm not saying that it was like, because I really don't, I really try not to believe in regrets, because I feel like it gives a negative connotation to, a lot of things that happened, right?
Oh, like your experiences.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly. I feel like as a person, like you're gonna make good mistakes. I mean, you're gonna make good decisions, you're gonna make bad decisions, right? But harping on it and calling it a regret and trying to sitting in that doesn't really leave room for you to learn from it and move on, right? So, like in my early 20s, I was big into partying. I did horrible in school. I'm my freshman year. I flunked out my freshman year.
Wait, in college?
Yeah, bro. Like in college, I got put on academic probation twice. So freshman year, failed all my classes.
Was it because you were not applying yourself, or was it because that you
I
just
didn't
care?
go to class. I didn't care.
Oh, okay.
I was like, yo, this is like, I'm in college now. Like, I'm making money. You feel me? I'm like, yo, I could do what I want. Literally, that was my mindset. I was like, yo, I could do what I want. I'm in college now. I'm making money. Like, let me just go move. So I was just moving the way I want to. I was at parties. You feel me? I was like, out with my friends all the time. I wasn't going to class. And I was like, now, looking back on it now, I wish that I took a lot of that stuff seriously, because the amount of money that I would have spent, like the amount of money that I would spend for school would have been drastically less, because I've like switched my major like 4 times along the way. I ended up spending a lot of money to take extra retake courses. And 2, I felt like I could have applied myself in certain areas, but I feel like there's a trade-off, because in that, I did network a lot, right?
Okay.
And really, like, my network is the reason why, I got to where I am. It's really like my experience and then the network, like meeting so many different people, being able to talk to so many different people. They kind of put you in position, when you really like, again, and it goes back to value. Like I was saying earlier, I found value in those relationships, and I continue to add value to those relationships. And now I can benefit from those relationships because we're constantly adding value to each other. Yeah.
Okay. So I remember someone came on the podcast and they said that like love or like relationships shouldn't be transactional.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be like I do something for you, so you gotta do something back for me, and if you don't do anything for me, I'm not gonna do anything for you. Like, do you feel as if like relationships today is like transactional? People don't go out their way to do stuff for like their friends as much as they used to.
So I feel like it's kind of like, so when you do care for somebody, right? When you genuinely care for somebody, there has to be transactions, right?
Okay.
But there can't be but if you have you can't have love without transactions, right?
Okay.
So you're always gonna have love. You're always gonna have transactions. If you have transactions and no love, that's where the relationship falls apart, right? And the reason why I say that is, when you care about somebody, you go out your way to, show that you care about somebody, right? You do things for that person. And again, transaction doesn't always have to be, like, here's $50, you feel me? Go get your hair done. Okay, you came back, and that's how you define love, right? When you have you genuinely just care about somebody, right? You're going to go out your way to do stuff for that person because you care about them. You feel me?
So it's not like you're like keeping a tally. Like,
so yeah,
like,
you're not supposed to keep a tally of this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what you did, this is what you did, right? At a certain point, all that stuff, like as you get older, I feel like, at least for me personally, all that stuff kind of, it doesn't matter. Like, I really don't care about that, right?
Okay.
Because to me, my biggest revelation was that you can't measure, again, value is a spectrum. You can't measure value, right? So because of that, what I realized is, like, I care about somebody. I'm in position, to do this for them, right? I could give you this $100 because I know I got it, right? You don't have that $100. You can't give me that $100. You feel me? You can't return that transaction, but you're going to do it in a different way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If I need somebody to talk to, you feel me? I know you're going to be the first person that's going to pick up the phone if I call you. Whereas my man's that could probably give me, like, $500 today, I call him, I can't get in touch with him. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So or like my man's that's, you know, could give me, you know, all this money. You feel me? I could call him and then he won't be able to give me the same emotional support that I need at the time, right? It all depends on the type of transaction that you're looking for, right? But relationships, you feel me, shouldn't be, you know, I do this for you, and now in return I'm expecting something, right? You should really try and you shouldn't do stuff with the expectation of getting something in return, right? You should do stuff because, you know, you genuinely care and you genuinely want to do them, right? Because I feel like when you do it like that, then you're moving in a more genuine fashion.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what are some ways that you spot like fake people in your life? Like fake people. Like what's something that you see like characteristics of fake people, toxic people in your life? In your opinion.
I would say the kind of like a lack of accountability, right? A lot of times, like you'll look at somebody like quote unquote fake, right? And there's gonna be times, right, in any relationship, doesn't matter the type, the dynamic of the relationship. In any relationship, you're going to do somebody wrong, right? Or they're going to do you wrong. Now, how you see somebody who is, I feel, in my opinion, quote unquote fake, is somebody who here's what they did wrong, right? Or here's, you know, your point of view, here's your perspective, and there's a lack of accountability on their part, right? Because a lot of times you shouldn't be going out your way to tell somebody, like when you point stuff out that's something that hurts you, right? You don't point it out in a sense where it's like you know you blaming the person, but genuinely you coming from a place of, you know, you're hurt. You're not necessarily saying that you're right. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily right or you're necessarily wrong, but there was a miscommunication or something happened that hurt your feelings, right? You have to be able to acknowledge that on the other end and, you know, take accountability for that. That, and then it's just, I feel like you just got to have discernment, you know what I mean? Because fake comes in so many different ways, you know what I mean? You can't just say somebody's fake because, you know, they don't answer your phone calls or they don't talk to you or they don't invite you out. Depends on the dynamic of the relationship. Okay. You know what I mean?
So people label too quickly.
Yeah, people label too quickly sometimes. Sometimes, like, I'm not going to call somebody fake. I'm not going to call somebody fake, right? Say if my man's goes out and then, like, you know, that's my man's, you know, we talking all the time. And he goes out and then he invites another one of his mans and then he doesn't hit me up to come out. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say, oh, you're fake because you didn't invite me out when you guys all went out, right? Because what if I'm in a season of my life where I'm not going out as much? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or in that context, it's not a context for me. You know what I mean?
For you to go, okay.
Exactly.
So he didn't think to invite you.
Exactly. So you're not going to think, but I'm not going to consider that fake. It's just a level of discernment that you have to have.
And it's a conversation.
And a conversation, exactly, that you have to have. You know what I mean? Like, if that hurts your feelings, then you go say that you hurt your feelings. And again, it doesn't mean that somebody's necessarily right or somebody's necessarily wrong, but there is a miscommunication, and you have to have that conversation to understand what's going on. So sometimes we label fake too quickly. You know what I mean?
Okay. And let me ask you this. Okay, so you talk about fake people. So you're single right now, right? Mm-hmm. So if you could build like your perfect girl in a sense of characteristics that you want her to have, attributes, what was the perfect girl for you? From Michael Vincent, like, what's the perfect girl for you?
Let's see. The perfect girl for me would be somebody who is outgoing, challenging yet respectful.
Wait, pause. Wait. What do you mean challenging? Give me
challenging. What I mean is, like, a lot of times it's like, for example, the same way that you might in your circle have yes men. For me, I don't want
a yes woman.
A yes woman. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't want somebody that's going to, like, if I say my opinion, you know, in a respectful manner, not going to disrespect me, but it's going to challenge me on my opinion, you know, make me, you know, think and make me question why I believe, you know, exactly. Make me trying to see, like, why do I actually believe the way I do? Because I feel like that's the way that you grow. You know what I mean? It's like your views aren't always going to be correct, But when you find somebody that's going to challenge you, right, but in a respectful way, in a healthy way, then it helps you, build perspective and build, your point of view. It helps you see things from, a different lens.
A different point of view.
Exactly.
Okay. What else?
Let's see.
Outgoing,
challenging. Somebody who isn't complacent, right? Somebody who doesn't
very important
like being in the same spot all the time, because I tend to fall into that sometimes. Sometimes I tend to fall into my comfort level and then stay where I'm comfortable, right? So sometimes I need the opposite, somebody that's gonna push me out. Hey, like you're venture out into this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Take this risk. Look at this. So somebody who isn't complacent.
That's a really good list, though.
Yeah,
that's a really good list. You feel me?
And I feel like, let's see if we could think of something else. I feel like it would be somebody who's God fearing. You know what I mean? Or somebody who's God fearing, somebody who believes in God. Because again, that's my faith. Pretty big on my faith, but I feel like even more so, I believe like the golden rule, right? The golden rule above all anything else is just to treat somebody how you want to be treated. You know what I mean? So I feel like as long as she has that, and I feel like, everything will kind of
fall into place.
Kind of fall into place, yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like those would be like some heavy hitters.
Some
heavy hitting attributes. If I had to think of some. The rest will come to me. I'm sure there's more. Like everybody,
that is more, but like those like
But we want really.
No. I feel like beautiful doesn't matter nowadays. You feel me? I'd rather have like I'd rather have like a 7 that challenges me than like a 10 that like is complacent. You feel me?
But then again, that's
seven's like that'll be subjective to me though.
That's subjective to you.
That'll be
exactly.
Subjective to me. That could be a 10 to somebody else. But
exactly.
Like, but like my thing is like. You could have the baddest and the prettiest girl, but if she's annoying or she doesn't push you or she doesn't like, then what's the point of having her? Like that's what I be thinking sometimes. You feel
then
me?
Again, I feel like another thing is like personality plays a big part into how somebody looks to you. You know what I mean? At least
that's a fact.
Where I'm at right now,
that's a fact. That's a fact. Bro.
Where I'm at right now is just like obviously, you're going to see somebody and be like, oh, this girl looks beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when you start hearing them talk, when you start hearing them, you feel me? When you start hearing how they think, when you start seeing, like, they either become more attractive to you or become less attractive to you. You know what I mean?
Nah, but have you seen that? I seen like some pretty girls, and then I see the way they treat other people, and it's just like, yeah, she's not that. I see what you mean. Like she's not that pretty type.
I definitely been into a few situations. I got a few stories.
Yeah, you got a few stories.
I got a few stories.
Nah, but I'm saying though, like, but I feel like the older you get, like you really start. It really starts becoming like a personality thing. When people be like, yo, I'm looking for looks. Cat, bro. When you get older, you start looking at someone's personality, and you start looking like, oh, can I raise a family with this person? Can I have like, because you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's long term thinkers.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times, like one thing that I really try to focus on, at least in this like part of my life where I am now, is the importance of taking out like a sense of entitlement, right? And I feel like as a guy, that's one of the biggest things. It's like pride and entitlement as a guy go hand in hand. They're like this. And the reason why I say that is because, for example, sometimes like I feel entitled. Like I would like the first feeling would be, oh, this girl's beautiful. If I do talk to her, then I should get a response, right? A lot of times, dudes, we just think like, hey, I'm that guy. You feel me? I do this, that.
I got my wrist is
like,
amazing.
Exactly. If I go talk to this girl, then you feel me? I should. Yeah, I could get any girl that I want type.
Mm-hmm.
But then one thing I had to focus on was that it's like that's not how it works. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
That's not how it works. You feel me? Not every person is for you, right? Or at least not every person is for you in the way that you think that they're for you. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of times in relationships or a lot of times when you meet people, you feel me? You kind of have this pre-expectation and you already have this, you already have this idea of how the relationship's going to go, what you're supposed to get out the relationship. what they're supposed to do for you, and the way that they're supposed to treat you, right? And you kind of feel entitled to that
Okay.
before you don't even know the person yet.
Okay.
And then you don't get what you want, you kind of get tight. It kind of hurts you, you know what I mean? It's
I
like,
feel you.
damn, it's like, you feel me? How you know what you mean? You like you're not interested? Like what you mean you're not trying? Like you know who I am, stuff like that. You know what I do? Like you feel me? And it's just like you know who I am. Like you know what I could do for you. Da 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 da.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people get that. But you know the thing is though, like a lot of people come up to me and they think like, yo, Donald, like I see you making a lot of money, and they will think like, Donald, you're like mad entitled type junk. Because I feel like people think that people that have money feel like they could get anything they want. They could get away with anything type junk.
That's not the case at all.
That's not the case though. You feel
That's
me?
not the case at all. Money doesn't solve.
Money
everything.
doesn't solve anything. Yeah.
Money doesn't. Honestly, money is like I always say this all the time. Like the more you chase money, the farther it's gonna run from you.
That's
right?
a fact.
Like me, I really don't. I'm not gonna say I don't care about money because I need money. Like I need money to live the life that I'm living and to support the things that I do. But what I'm saying is that if you look at me, right, I save a lot of money, but I also spend a lot of money too. And what I mean by that is I'm not so tight with my money. You know what I mean? Like if I want to go do something, I'm gonna do it because the experience is worth it, right?
Okay.
The experience is worth more than the money that I could have saved. Because the way I see it, right, is in life, let's say, right, in life, we're all gonna die one day, right? We're all gonna die one day. That's just the way life is, right? There is no ceiling on success, right? People say that success is sky high. It's the limit. Your mind is the limit, or whatever the case may be, right? There is no ceiling on success, right? I could get more, and I can always get more, right? So what that means, right, is because there is no tangible, right? There's no tangible, there's no physical, there's no end objective. There's no like stopping point where I could say there's nothing beyond this. What's important is the journey and how I get to where I'm going. You know what I mean? And if I can't find enjoyment along the way, then at the end of my life, right, when the last tangible thing that we have is death, right? When that time comes, right, if I can't say that I lived an enjoyable life, then it was for nothing. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
So,
but that's what I realized. One of my friends came up to me the other day and was like, "Yo, Donald, you ever realize motivational speakers they never talk about like the end?
yeah.
They never talk about like, oh, we finally made the million. We finally made the NFL. They always specify on the journey.
Exactly.
Nobody ever talk. I like how you said that too.
Because there really is no end. If we think about it, there really is no end.
It's how high can you go type junk.
Exactly.
That's a fact. But Mike, I do want to get back to that conversation, the entitlement thing. Like, that's such a deep topic. You feel me? Let me ask you this: Do you think it's male and female on the entitlement issue?
I feel like everybody's entitled.
Everybody's entitled.
I feel like everybody's entitled.
Okay.
Everybody has a sense of entitlement. Their entitlement is just in different areas, but I feel like everybody's entitled. You feel me?
I feel like that's a great point.
Like,
I meet a lot of people like that. Like, yo, like I get so many girls. You feel me? So if I want this girl, I'm gonna have her. And when they can't have her, it's kind of like when they can't have it, they'll go and like bash the person. Nah, she's ugly. She's this. She's that. And whoop de when they can't have her type thing because they pride is hurt their ego and stuff. But I feel like that's a great. Because I meet a lot of people like that.
It's crazy because it's just like, you feel me? From personal experience, right? I felt like I was entitled to certain things because of the title of our relationship, right? I felt like I was entitled to certain things when I was in a relationship just because I was in the relationship. You know what I mean? I'm your boyfriend, so I should be getting X, Y, and Z, right?
Okay.
And then, like I said, you become complacent and you stop putting in, you feel me, effort
The effort
to deserve X, Y, and Z, right? So you can't get, like, to me, it came to a point where it's just like, when I first became single, right, after my relationship, when I first got out of my relationship, I was mad as hell. You feel me? I was mad. I was like, damn, da 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 da. You feel me? And then I'm looking back on my relationship. I'm reflecting. Right?
Why were you mad though? Are you mad at yourself, or you're just mad at the whole situation in general?
I was mad at the whole situation in general. I was mad that, you feel me? I was. I was mad at the whole situation in general. I was mad at the fact that, you feel me? At first, I was mad at the fact that, you feel me? like, you know, I got broken up with. You feel me? I was like, damn. I was like,
Dang, like,
me, it's like,
like,
me,
dude.
getting broken up. Exactly. I ain't think it was that big of a deal at first, right? But then I'm reflecting.
I know the months past, you were like, dang, brother, it's really done.
Nah, it was,
like,
and it was like, it's crazy because it's like, again, with entitlement, I feel like because I was so entitled, it was the reason why I was so like, I was like, yo, I was distraught. Like, I was depressed. I was upset. I was like, you know, I didn't go outside.
Just you know who I am,
bro.
like,
And it wasn't even.
I'm great.
Yo,
You feel
after
me?
that happened, right? Because those feelings happened first. I was like, yo, it's me. Da-da. After that, I became depressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I ain't leave my crib. You feel me? You could, like, I didn't leave the house, and I would literally just go to work, come home, spend the entire day in the house, right? I didn't want to go out. I didn't really want to go talk to nobody.
Wait, let me ask you something. Someone brought this point up. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like if you ever get to that point, like you too attached to your partner, like people put too much emphasis on their relationships type thing. To the point where like
yeah.
they can't even like
So
when
that
they
was
attach, it's like they found no purpose in themselves. Like,
so, and that's the thing. Like, so it was like that, right? I had so much emphasis on my relationship, and at the same time, I put like I was so entitled to a sense where it's just like I didn't really look back and reflect on the relationship, right? So it wasn't until probably like as time's going on, I'm looking back and I'm reflecting, right? And I'm saying, I'm like, damn, I was a horrible person in this relationship. Like, and it was just like, and I really felt bad for myself because I was just like, I felt bad in myself because I was like, yo, like, I became so entitled in a sense to the relationship, right? Became so entitled to the fact that I had that title, right? I stopped putting in the work and I stopped trying to get to know somebody, right? I stopped trying to learn where they were at in life, what I was doing wrong, what was going on. I stopped trying to grow in that point. I just kept being stuck in, you feel me, who I was, what I had, and that was it. You know what I mean? So when I lost all that, I didn't know what to do with myself, you know what I mean? But it wasn't until, you know, time went on that I really started reflecting. And I started just, you know, learning key principles and learning key things that, you feel me, I don't carry on in just intimate relationships, but in all my relationships. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But I feel like a lot of people too, like the problem is like they get out of a relationship, you feel me? Like you said, they get mad and angry and they like bounce around, you feel me? Like, oh, I'm gonna talk to this person, I'm gonna talk to that person, you feel me? You try to get back at the person in a sense type thing. I see a lot of that in like these different type of relationships. Like people get out of relationships and then like they lose like they like I said, like their self value, like their self worth, you feel me?
Bro,
But I feel like the work should always be on like the purpose. Like your main and most important thing in life should always be like your purpose. What did God tell you to do on this earth? Like what did God tell you to do? I feel like it should always be like your main priority in a sense.
So,
What do you think about that?
so,
In your opinion?
in my opinion, right, I feel like, because I did a little bit of both, right? I did a little bit of, you know, bouncing around, going here, going there, meeting different people. And then
Did you get fulfillment from doing that though? Like, were you
Nah,
happy?
not at all, not at all. I felt like a lot of I had to go go through a lot of the relationships that I was in, and a lot of the people that, you know, I was connected to, and realizing were these people that, you know, were benefiting me personally, adding value to me. Excuse me. Or was it just empty? Oh, my fault.
Okay.
Or was it just empty, right? And a lot of it was just empty. Like, a lot of, like, I didn't find no purpose. I didn't find no meaning. I didn't find no value in it. So I was like, damn, like, you feel me? It's kind of pointless. And then, like I said, I started, you feel me? Like, we grew up in a Christian household. We grew up in a Christian household. We have Christian values and stuff like that. So I started going back to church, and I started feeling that church hurt too. I was in church. I was like, damn, I can't get love nowhere. So then that's when I realized that people are imperfect, right? We're all imperfect. We all gonna make mistakes, right? If you put on the importance on person, or if you put on importance on the person, then you're gonna realize that you're gonna get hurt, right? Something's gonna happen, and then you're gonna be like, damn, this isn't perfect. This isn't what I thought it was gonna be. And because of that, you're gonna let that destroy you, right? Because that's what I did. Me personally, I was in a point where it's just like I was putting importance on people, and every time somebody did me wrong, I was like, damn, you feel me? I took it to heart. You know what I mean?
That's why I told him. I want you, Michael. This is why, Michael, like that thing. That's why I tell people like, yo, don't look up to me, bro. Look up to God, bro. That's why I be telling people, because like, if you look up to me and I do something wrong to you, or I do something wrong in general, y'all gonna be like, oh, Donald's trying to hold up this perfect image, and look at him, and people will use that to like be like, oh, this is why we can't trust people like this, and I'll be like, yo, don't look. I'm gonna fall like hundreds of times. That's what, follow God, don't follow me.
Yeah,
look up to Him, type.
Yeah, don't look at me, please.
Don't look at me like I'm gonna feel like I'm human just like y'all too. You feel me?
Don't look at me at all. Like, I'm gonna make my mistakes. You feel me? I'm gonna make a lot of them. Like,
That's
I made a lot of them. You feel me? And I probably still got a lot more to go. But that's just how life is. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm trying to be very cognizant of the fact that my goal and my aim is to see, can I benefit this person, right? Instead of like the relationships, a lot of the relationships that I get into, right? Now, when I say relationships, I mean like just the broad variety, whether it's friendships, whether it's at work, whether it's intimate relationships, whatever the case may be. All the relationships that I get into, or at least I try. I can't emphasize this hard enough. I try my hardest to make sure that I'm looking at how I can benefit the person. You know what I mean? I feel like if you're just yourself, right? If I'm just being myself and I'm continuing to treat everybody again the same way I wanted to treat, the same way I want to be treated, I look at how can, I look into a relationship, I'm like, okay, how can I add value into here? You feel me? What exactly can I do here? Where do I fit into this relationship? What is my objective? What is my goal? Like, what can I do here?
Like, what do you bring to the table?
Exactly. That's the first thing I think of, right? Second thing I think of is, okay, how does this person provide value back to me? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I feel like when you look at it reverse, right? You look, what can you get from somebody, right? You almost look to use them, right? You almost look to, at least personally, I was in a place where it was just like, I was thinking about it the reverse, and I was like, damn, it's like, what can I get from this person? What can I get from this person? What can I get from this person? And I felt like it came to a point where we were just both kind of like, shells. Like, we was both kind of empty. Like, we was like just running around on E. You feel me? The relationship, the friendship, whatever it was, we just wasn't really doing nothing, because I was just trying to get whatever I could without putting anything into it. You know what I mean? I was trying to drive a car that I didn't put no gas in, expecting it to take me everywhere I wanted to go, and it can't. You feel me? So I was just like, damn, like, if I think about it in reverse, if I try and keep inputting, the more you put into somebody who's genuine, the more they're gonna put back into you.
Okay.
You feel me?
Dang, like, I feel like I got a problem there, because I don't know. I think I have maybe like an entitlement issue, because I feel like I bring so much value everywhere I go. I don't know, man. I think I'm too entitled, maybe. So I feel like I'm like, yo, I'm an asset everywhere I go. That's what I be telling myself, yo, I'm an asset everywhere I go, type thing.
But you got to think at, like, because again, not everybody looks at you and is gonna say like, hey, Donald is an asset to me because he has great investment advice, right? Donald's an asset to me because he's successful, right? A lot of people gonna say like, okay, you could do all that, you feel me? But right now, I just need somebody who can see me as an individual. You know what I mean? Right now, I need somebody who can just see me as an individual, and you can't do that, so you're not an asset to me. You're not valuable to me, right? But in a sense of entitlement, you're gonna be like, damn, like, how can you say that? How much money I make, what I bring to the table, what I do. And again, that just goes back to looking at the spectrum in which value is on, right? Not everybody measures value in the same way. You know what I mean? So there's some people that money can't do anything for. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
Some people money can't do anything for. Some people, emotional support, they got that. You know what I mean? They have a strong support system. You know what I mean?
So you're saying like emotional, like you might try to give me emotional support, but my support system is so strong
it doesn't bother me. You feel me? Whether you give it to me or not, like, because a lot of times,
I feel like I am, but okay.
A lot of times, for example, you look at this relationship dynamic, right? Say that you find somebody and you're an entitled person, right? So you know that, look, I can sit and I could talk to this person, right? I know that I could be there for them and I could, emotionally give them what they're looking for, right? In certain relationships, that person builds a dependency on you, right? A dependency in which, damn, this person, they listen to me, they're here for me. So they can do no wrong in my eyes because they're giving me, you know, that emotional support system that I'm so lacking, right?
I mean, that's the problem.
And
right?
and you build a dependency on that person, and then what happens is like that person, you know, is a bad friend to you, is a bad partner to you, whatever the case may be, and
But you already built the dependency.
you already
on
built
that
a dependency
person.
on them. So
Okay.
now you're stuck in the spot where it's like you're scared to leave almost, right? Some people that already have that strong support system, they have good family, good friends, good genuine people in their life that they could talk to. So whether you give them the emotional support or you don't, it's not it to them. It's not like they don't have that dependency on you. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you shouldn't be emotionally supportive or mentally supportive. You shouldn't be trying to bring people down in any relationship. But in some relationships,
You shouldn't
some
build
people,
a dependency on that.
yeah,
person.
you shouldn't build a dependency on that
So
person.
should you build it? So in a sense, be dependent on yourself, or be to a certain, or don't build a dependency to a certain extent to the where if the person leaves and you're like,
It's like, yeah, for example, it's like don't build a certain dependency on the emotional aspect of it, right? The emotional support is just another substitution for value in this example, right?
mm-hmm.
The whole point is, although yes, you're supposed to look at the value that somebody brings to you and that you can put into them, don't build a dependency on that value, right? Because the dependency on something can cause you to do certain things that you wouldn't do if you were independent of it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if I didn't need it, all right, if I didn't need it, then I could. There's certain things that I wouldn't do or that I would do because I don't need something. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And vice versa. So I just feel like the whole point is not to build a dependency on the value that that is placed in certain situations. Always be appreciative of it, and always learn. Always look to add value in certain situations and expect to receive value in certain situations. But again, value again is on a spectrum. Don't just build a dependency of the value that you receive or that you add. If that makes sense.
You know, I think though, what happens to those people that like they don't need anything?
In what way?
Like you ever think?
You always need something.
You're always gonna need something.
You're always gonna need something.
But I feel like there's some people that like, if you put two entitled people together, I got the money, I got emotional support, I have the backbone, I have mental. I feel like there's some people that think they have everything, and then you pair them up with someone that thinks they have everything.
Amen.
And then now that relationship gets together type jump, and I feel like it happens between highly successful people.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Someone that's a woman that makes a lot of money, has her high degree, everything, status, everything. A man that has everything, and now you feel me? When they come together, it's kind of like I
mean,
you can't give me anything, I can't give you anything. I'm independent. You feel me?
so again, it's like
You get the scenario I'm trying to build around.
I get the scenario that you're trying.
Like for
to build
example,
about.
like if someone has everything, like let's say a woman has her degree, she makes a lot of money, she does this, independent, and then she meets someone that of lower standard type that doesn't have everything. You feel me? And that's vice versa on like the thing. Like I feel like some people might be like, oh, like they'll have that entitlement issue and they'll be like, yo, like I could treat this person worse, so I could do something. I do what I want to do,
like
in a sense.
So I feel like even on that end,
you get what I'm trying to say?
I'm understanding what you're trying to say a little bit, right? I still don't think that there is anything that goes back to dependency, because again, like say if you do meet somebody who has less than you, right? Right, you meet somebody who has less than you, you don't want that person. That person doesn't want to be dependent on somebody who has. Like if I meet a woman that is doing much more successful than I am, then kudos. You feel me? Great job. You feel me? I'm happy, but I'm not going to be dependent on that. You feel me? I still got to look for ways. I still got to look for ways that I can add value, right? And again, goes back to just value being on a spectrum. You know what I mean? Just because we're like they could be the two most successful people, right? Get together and still be unhappy, right?
That's true.
And then you could look to people who don't have nothing, right?
And they're the happiest.
And they're the happiest, right?
Let me ask you this: like current event. Gabriella Union, Dwayne Wade's wife right now. She said that I cheated on my husband because I paid all the bills, right? And then she said in a recent interview like, me and my husband, we split 50-50 on all the bills. You feel me? And he's probably worth over like $100 million. You feel me? And people are commenting like, "Oh, whoa!" Like, what's your thoughts on it before I go for deeper?
So,
she cheated on her man because she paid all the bills.
She cheated on her man.
She cheated on her man multiple times because she paid all the bills. and then
Dwayne Wade.
on Dwayne, no, not Dwayne Wade, not Dwayne Wade. It was her, like her.
Oh, the man's before.
The man's
Oh, yeah,
before,
yeah, I
the
do
man's
remember.
before, Tay J.
Oh, damn.
Feel me?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think she cheated too, but I'm not sure. But I remember she said she cheated because she paid all the bills. So she felt like,
mean-
yo, like I'm that person. I'm that girl. You feel me? I do what I want. I pay all the bills, and whoop de whoop, Tay J.
she found, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like she probably found value or entitlement in the money. You feel me? That she was bringing. And was like, you feel me? Because I'm doing everything, then I could do whatever I want, essentially.
So now they splitting the bills, so it's kind of like, oh, so I gotta put up my own, you gotta put up your own. So it's like nobody feels like entitled to anything.
I feel like, I mean, to me, I don't even think that the problem is who's paying the bills, to be honest. I feel like, you feel me? It doesn't matter who's paying the bills. Like, if you paying if she paying the bills, then if he paying the bills, if they splitting the bills, I feel like that shouldn't be the crux of the argument. You feel me? The argument should be, you feel me, what in a sense makes you feel like you have the power to do certain things or in a relationship, or feel like you have the ability to do certain things in a relationship. You know what I mean?
So it's like a respect thing.
It's like a respect thing too.
But like you said, the pride though. Like some people, would you be okay with your wife making more money than you?
Absolutely.
Some people, like they can't even fathom that question. Like they,
Bro,
if my wife worked harder than me, I couldn't. But but it's like I always think of it like teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say the next relationship I get into, I want it to be almost like a teamwork. You feel me? Like we're building something together. Like when you guys, I feel like when you get married, bro, it should be like our money in a sense.
I was having this conversation, right, with a good friend of mine. I was having the conversation with his mother-in-law, right?
Okay.
He was chilling at the mother-in-law house, and we was all just talking. Like, you know, she was asking, you know, what I do for work, exactly what are my goals, what are my aspirations, what am I looking for in a relationship, stuff like that. And she goes, you know, she comes from a traditional, I think she's Ghanaian, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So she comes from a traditional background, you know.
Okay.
And she's like, you know, the way I was raised, you know, I just believe that the man should pay 70 to 80% of the bills in the house, or 70 to 100% of the bills in the house, right?
Okay.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, what? But then it's starting to it's starting to click, and I'm sitting here, I understand. It's like, to be honest, in my relationship, right? If I have the ability to, right? When I have the ability to, I'm gonna work for the amount of success where I can pay 70 to 100% of the bills in the house. Because the whole thing is, right? Yes, if my wife makes more money than me, that's cool. But I feel like if I'm taking care of the bills in the house, then the money that you're making, like, you feel me? Take care of the kids with that. You feel me? Take care of me with that. You feel me? Like, you feel me? If I need something, like, you feel me? If you going shopping, bro, you feel me? You seen that I need something,
buy it for me.
take care of me. You feel me? If you don't have no bills to worry about in the house, and I could take care of the bills in the house, then, you feel me? The money that you're making, investing into me, investing into my kids. You feel me?
Yeah.
And look, it's all about a partnership in some way. You feel me?
Okay.
There's got to be give and take in every relationship. There's got to be a partnership of some kind. So I feel like who's paying the bills don't really matter.
Because I feel like some people take it as, oh, if I'm paying the bills, then like you got to do everything. I feel like that's the thing. I see like a lot of people are saying, like some people are like, oh, if I pay the bills, when I come home, I want a dinner, I want my this and that. But I feel like it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be like that.
I see like a lot of people be like, oh, if I'm paying the bills, I should have a nice steak when I get home, and I should get my boots taken off, and I should get like people really think like that. And I'm like, whoa, like it should like the partnership.
Yeah,
like
it's a
when you start
partnership
thinking me, then
Yeah.
you forget about the us take.
Exactly.
Like, oh, it's our money. Like I'm working towards a better future for both of us.
One thing that I'm gonna tell you that I learned from you know my relationship, my last relationship, is that before you meet somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're an individual before you meet somebody.
That's a fact.
Right? So there's certain things, right? For example, that there's certain perspectives. So let's take this example, right? I'm in a relationship, and she asked me for advice, right? Or there's something going on in our relationship and something that we need to work on, some type of advice, some type of thinking that I need to do, right? There's many times a difference in what you say to somebody depending on the perspective that you give it from, right? So for example, if I'm looking at from a boyfriend perspective, from a husband perspective, right? There's something that I would say to you that could probably be different in the perspective of somebody who knows you as an individual. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is sometimes we could be a little selfish in what we want. You know what I mean? I can be selfish at times. And what I may ask for as a boyfriend is, no, like, let's just work through this together. Let's just, sit here. Let's, keep talking about it all night. Let's figure out a plan together. When, if I know you as an individual, I know that you need space. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to be able to walk away. You need to be able to, leave the environment, come back, get your thoughts together, and then come back, right? You see the difference in those perspectives. And sometimes we have to, well, not sometimes, all the times we need to know the person as an individual first. We need to sit down and really understand where that person is on an individual level so that we can really amplify, what we can do for them in, an intimate level or in a relationship level, in a level that has more context to it, you know what I mean? Or more implication to it. So, for example, like to going back to, oh, you feel me? I make all this money, you should, cook for me, make this steak for me, If you know the person on a personal level or an individual level, you may pick up on certain things that, oh, maybe this person doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Maybe that's not the type of person that this person is. You know what I mean? Or they show their love for you in a different way. You just pick up on stuff like that.
Okay. Like, this was like mad game, bro. like mad game type shit. You feel me? I feel like if you take like the information that you said and really like apply it, because like, I learned some stuff too. Like, I'm really gonna take like the entitlement thing. Like, I'm really gonna take that and be like, I was thinking about making a post like that. I feel like entitlement will keep you poor. Entitlement will keep you from not progressing. Entitlement will keep you from, being, what's the word you gave? Complacent. Yeah, entitlement will keep you complacent, will keep you poor, and will keep you like stagnant in your life. So that's like, I want you to wrap it up, bro.
Pretty much, if I could wrap it up, it's just like to focus on treating people the way that you want to be treated. That's the golden rule. Feel me? Always treat somebody the way that you would want and expect them to treat you, and never look to stop growing. You know what I mean?
Michael, where can people find you? Like, give us your socials and stuff. Where can people find you, tap in with you, ask you questions, DM you, whatever type junk?
Yeah, so my Instagram is @_LE.GARCON _ that's _ lid.garcon, pretty much. You feel me? Underscore. So that's my Instagram. Really, that's really the only type of social media I use right now. But yeah, tap in with me over there. Ask me questions, all that stuff.
And this is the No Name Podcast.